Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the Short Sports Show. I'm your host, Daniel Short. Today is Monday, November 25th, 2013. And I've been gone for a while. I've been gone for about a week and a half now. I went back home to Texas, had a great time there. But now I'm back, got to get things going up here in Seattle. And major news has happened over the past week. The reason I do a Friday show is because there's just a whole lot of things to look at because I really didn't pay too much attention to the sports world, but now I'm back, and obviously the biggest news in sports right now is obviously Derrick Rose. What happened with him having the surgery, tearing his meniscus on his right leg, and what's next for Derrick Rose in his career, and also for the Chicago Bulls. How are they going to move on this season without him? Also, Baylor out of the top 10. I'll talk about that with the BCS standings, and I told people about Baylor. I told you, and best believe I'm going to talk about them in just a little bit. Also, Comeback City yesterday with a few teams coming back to get some crazy victories, including the New England Patriots with Tom Brady last night, and my San Diego Chargers doing what I really didn't think was going to happen. But also, let's just go ahead and talk about the college football. Top three teams, Alabama, Florida State, and also Ohio State, dominate their opponents. So nothing much to them. And it seemed like college football this week was just it was like week one, where people are starting to play those really weak teams, those FCS teams, except for Florida. Florida, I don't know what happened to you. Georgia Southern is a very good school in the FCS, but to have 429 yards of rushing offense against a Florida defense. Against Florida overall, just Florida. Doing that and having no completions on only 3 passes for Georgia Southern. 3 attempt passes. Each were incomplete. And they ran the ball the entire game. That's unbelievable. But also, Baylor falls to Oklahoma State on the road, 49-17, and what did I say about Baylor? I knew it from the beginning. I knew it. People thought I was hating on them. People thought I was, jealous because TCU was having a bad year and TCU Baylor being rivals. People thought all this other things that I was just like, no, that's not the reason. I knew Baylor was not that good of a team. I knew that all the teams they had played were very weak teams, that they, scored high points on. Everybody was like, oh, they're the next big thing. Obviously not. They go on the road to a very tough place at Oklahoma State, which is a tough place to win. But at least I can say my TCU Horned Frogs kept it close against Oklahoma State, unlike this Baylor team that, they finally played a really good team, which was Oklahoma State, and got crushed 49-17. They only scored 17 points when everybody was like, oh, they're going to score 40 points. They're going to score 60 points. They're going to score this and this and this. 17 points. I give much credit to Oklahoma State. Baylor, I told you so. And I'm so excited that Baylor lost. Baylor, not I just don't like them. But I knew it. So Baylor drops out. We'll talk about the BCS standings in just a little bit. But I called it. And I'm so excited. Anyways, Oregon. Oregon's another team. Not the same. After losing to Stanford a few weeks ago, now have lost to Arizona 42-16. Absolutely dominated. They only scored 16 points. Now, Oregon, I'm lost on you because you dominate the entire year. You actually played some good competition throughout the year and have now just coaches have found a way to stop Oregon's offense, which is crazy to think that they, that was possible. Oregon, I didn't keep up with the score against Stanford, but I know it wasn't close. So now you got back-to-back losses, really bad losses as well. Arizona is kind of mixed team right now, but for Oregon to get dominated against Arizona like that is crazy to think that, I don't know. That's just it threw me off to see Oregon just getting stopped so easily. And I mean, their defense is not that good. I mean, I think we all knew that throughout the year and past few years. Oregon's defense really hasn't been the greatest. But, wow. 42-16 was the final score for Oregon versus Arizona. And Johnny Football could not get it done against LSU. Final score is 34-10. And A&M's defense, wow. That needs some major rebuilding. on that defensive side. LSU, obviously have that power I formation, just power through, and they've done that for a very long time and just very good at it with a great running back, great offensive line, and A&M's defense has nothing. I mean, that defense is bad, and I think that's why they lost the game. Now, LSU has a very good defense as well. I mean, it kept Johnny Manziel to 10 points, but I just think A&M's defense is the major reason why A&M's lost the few games that they have, and we could have seen A&M being undefeated if that defense would have been a little bit better. Also, speaking of defense, now we're going to flip it a little bit. Michigan State's defense been incredible the past few weeks. I know last week I don't know who they played, but they kept them to -6 rushing yards after they held Michigan the previous week to -48. So Michigan State defense, that's what I'm jealous of. That defense is amazing, and they dominate Northwestern. 30-6 was the final score, and I don't know if people remember, Northwestern was not that long ago was 4-0. Was going to play Ohio State. It was on ABC's Saturday night game, and Northwestern. I know they were in the top 15 for sure. I want to say top 10, but I can't really remember on that. But now they have dropped 7 straight games, going 4-7 right now. That's crazy how you can go from being a top 10 team, top 15 for sure, and just drop just like that. And it's crazy. UCLA loses to Arizona State 38-33. It is the first loss for UCLA versus a Pac-12 South member under head coach Jim Mora. They're now 8-1 against the Pac-12 South. That was weird. Also, Louisville escapes versus Memphis 24-17, and also Louisville, how you dropped from being a top 5 team to now number 20-something now. Bob Stoops passes Barry Switzer for most wins at Oklahoma with a 41-31 win over K-State. And now, finally, the BCS standings came out last night. Again, of course, Alabama, Florida State, Ohio State being the top 3 teams. And now we have a little bit of different. Oh, wow, this is different from last time I talked about it. Auburn at number 4, Missouri at 5, Clemson 6, Oklahoma State 7, Stanford 8, Baylor 9, and South Carolina at number 10. Wow. A little bit of SEC bias there. That is incredible. Now, Auburn does deserve to be, I think, in the top 10, but top 5, I don't know. I mean, they've had some pretty impressive wins, but I don't see number 4. I think that's just a little gimme. Oh, wow. That's terrible. Stanford number 8. That's okay. Michigan State at 11. Arizona State 12. Oregon 13. Northern Illinois 14. And Wisconsin at 15. Seems pretty good right there. Michigan State, I feel like they should get more credit than what they're given. I think they are a top 10 team for sure. I think they could beat South Carolina. They would beat Baylor. Keep a close game against Stanford just because of their defense. But, wow. Let's see what else. Wisconsin 15, Fresno State 16, LSU 17, Oklahoma 18, UCF at 19, Louisville 20. In the final 21 through 25 is A&M, UCLA, USC, Duke. This isn't basketball. This is football. Duke football number 24 and Notre Dame at 25. Wow. Okay, my opinions. Auburn should not be a top 5 team. No way. I don't know. They have some pretty good wins, but I can't see them being a legit top 5 team. I think Clemson could beat them. Missouri, that'd be a close one. Wow. That's I don't know. I think that's a little trying to get the SEC back up there because they're afraid if Alabama were to lose, it'd be a Florida State, Ohio State type thing. I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like the BCS right there. That is it's too ugly right there. Well, we'll go ahead and move on to the NFL. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff in college football news-wise other than just scores. Nothing really stand out other than I think Notre Dame lost a center for the year. So we'll go on to the NFL scores, and wow. Patriots down 24-0 at halftime and come back to beat the Denver Broncos. His final score in overtime was 34-31, and Peyton Manning looked terrible. I mean, terrible. 19 for 36, 150 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's stats for like his brother Eli. That's the way the season's gone. That is not Peyton Manning. But Tom Brady, on the other hand, 34 for 50, 344 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Wow. How the Patriots did it blows my mind. I mean, they had 3 fumbles in like the first quarter, and somehow, oh wow, it's incredible to see how they just come back just like that. And I know Broncos defense has not really been their strength as well. I mean, obviously their offense is what's got them going, but for the Patriots to come back, I really thought the game was over after the first quarter. I mean, just how the Broncos defensively, how they were just dominating the Patriots, and Patriots could not find anything to get going. I was about 90+% positive that Broncos had this game, especially with the offensive for the Broncos. I knew the Broncos were going to score points, so it's just their defense is already shutting down the Patriots, shutting down Brady. You know Broncos were going to just score, but that did not happen. 4 turnovers for the Broncos, and also 3 turnovers for the Patriots, but 21 points in the third quarter for the Patriots to start off strong in the second half, which later led into overtime for a field goal, win the game, and wow. But let's see other stats. Oh, Noshan Moreno had 224 yards and a touchdown on 37 carries. Very, very impressive game for Noshan Moreno. Finally showing that he is not a bust. It only took him, 4 years? 3 years for sure. It's got to be 4 years. I'm pretty sure 4 years for Noshan Moreno, and he's finally shown that he is not a bust in the NFL. It's sad that it took that long, but still impressive game. Let's see. Also, the Dallas Cowboys. Romo, he's a different quarterback. You know, either he's really clutch or he shows how not to play quarterback. It's very weird because he's either really good at sometimes or it's just really bad. It's really never in between. But they do get the victory over the New York Giants, 24-21. They are now 4-0 against their conference or division. Division. And Giants dropped to 4-7. Cowboys improved to 6-5 now. Also, the Colts. What is going on with the Colts? I mean, they beat San Fran on the road. They beat Seattle. Then they beat the Denver Broncos. But they lose to San Diego Chargers, which actually I probably shouldn't say because that makes my team look bad, which we did pretty good. I'll talk about that in just a second. But they get dominated against the Arizona Cardinals 40-11. That is not the Indianapolis Colts that we know. That is not a 7-4 team. The Colts are... I was thinking when I saw the score, it was, 20 to something. I was pretty sure the Colts, because that's how they were down against the Texans, 24 to something, and then they came back and won. And I knew the Cardinals aren't that good of a team, even though they are 7-4, and they're 5-1 at home. They're still not that good team all around. I was thinking the Colts could come back again, and that's how their season was going to be. They're going to start off really slow in the beginning of the year and then come back and dominate and win the game. That didn't happen, and they absolutely get dominated 40-11, a very awkward score. But Carson Palmer, 314 yards, 2 touchdowns, while Andrew Luck was 163 yards and a touchdown. They just got dominated. Arizona had 410 yards of total offense, while Indianapolis Colts only had 239. That is, that's Jacksonville's kind of offense or something right there. Tennessee Titans defeat the Oakland Raiders on a last-second touchdown. Final score was 23-19. Kendall Hunter with 109 yards for Tennessee. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 320 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I knew Fitzpatrick was a pretty good quarterback. I don't know. Bills, I think they should have kept him. I know they're moving on with E.J. Manuel, who's been hurt, but I mean, and they couldn't predict that. But Fitzpatrick is not that bad, and I think he's the best quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, even if Jake Locker was healthy. I'm not a huge fan of Jake Locker, so good job for Ryan Fitzpatrick. Jacksonville Jaguars on a roll. 13-6 victory over the Houston Texans. Wow, Texans. Oh, yeah, Case Keenum. I lost hope in you, man. I've lost total hope in you. I started him in my fantasy because Case Keenum, you're going against the Jacksonville Jaguars offense. I know Texans have had a bad year, but it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. You've got this. Started him on my fantasy over. I forgot who my backup quarterback was. It doesn't matter. I started him, and he only goes 169 yards and an interception, which wasn't his fault, but still, that counts, and that hurt. Anyways, Jacksonville goes to 2-9 as well as the Houston Texans, and that's I guarantee you. Where are the Texans fans now? Where are they? I mean, I know half of them are bandwagoners, but yeah, exactly. Jets lose to the Baltimore Ravens 19-3 with Geno Smith going 9 for 22, 127 yards, and boy, has the Jets, I don't know, they've gone silent. They had a few good victories, and especially over the New England Patriots, and now have done nothing. Jacoby Jones with 103 yards and a touchdown to help the Ravens get the victory. Also, the Carolina Panthers improved to 8-3 with their 7th straight win over the Miami Dolphins. I was going to say 40. 20-16. Cam Newton, 174 yards and a touchdown. Ryan Tannehill had a pretty impressive game, but could not get the victory. It was 310 yards and a touchdown. He also had 36 yards, which led the team in rushing in this game, which is not that good. That Tannehill had to run majority of the time. Also, St. Louis Rams dominate the Carolina. Really? Just talked about them? Let's move over to the next game. The Chicago Bears, 42-21, and Josh McCown, 352 yards, 2 touchdowns for the Chicago Bears, and Clemens had 167, but Cunningham had 13 carries, 109 yards, and a touchdown after Zach Stacy got hurt, Zach Stacy, pretty good running back. I'm thinking about picking him up on my fantasy team if he's still out there, which I don't think he is. That's what I see every year in fantasy football. There's no running backs in free agency, or the time you need to go get a running back, there's never any, and it's terrible. But Rams improved to 5-6, while the Bears dropped to 6-5. Buccaneers get their 3rd victory of the year. They intercept Matthew Stafford four times to get the victory, 24-21. And I don't know, Jacksonville Buccaneers, you got something going. That's incredible how the Buccaneers how they beat the Lions, especially on the road. But Calvin Johnson, 115 yards, but did have a fumble that basically lost the game for them when they were in the red zone. But still, to lose to the Buccaneers, to even give them a chance, it was pretty sad for the Detroit Lions. We had our first tie of the year with the Minnesota Vikings and a Carolina. Carolina. Jeez, what is up with Carolina? I'm guessing I'm just a huge fan of Carolina today. I don't know why. With the Green Bay Packers, I hope I haven't said Carolina just didn't pick it up. Final score was 26-26, and the Packers were completely lost in overtime. With a few players didn't even know they could go into a tie. I don't know if they're just saying that because of what happened with Donovan McNabb when he said that a few years ago, or what, because they're making this huge story about it. But wow, 26-26, a tie, first one of the year. Steelers get the victory over the Cleveland Browns, 27-11. I still don't think Steelers are a playoff team. I know they're 5-6 right now. I still think they're that team that, they just play another. I mean, it was just the Browns, so it's not like a huge victory. But there was another article that I saw, and they were saying, are the Steelers still in the hunt, or they are still in the hunt? I mean, the record says yes, but team-wise, when you look, if you're going to look, towards the future for them, they're just not a playoff team this year. Also, my San Diego Chargers somehow did it. They defeat the Kansas City Chiefs 41-38 on the road. And Phillip Rivers, what a game. 392 yards and 3 touchdowns Ryan Matthews had only 55 yards and a touchdown, but did pretty good. But Keenan Allen, 124 yards on 9 receptions, no touchdowns, but he was just a boss. Keenan Allen was, like they said when we drafted him, was a steal. He came off an injury, knee injury in his college career, senior year, and people were saying, "Oh, should we have drafted him? Is he, top player? He would have been a first rounder if he was healthy." Blah blah blah. And you can see why he was going to be a first rounder, because this guy is very, very good. I'm so happy the San Diego Chargers have him on our team, because with the wide receiver depth that we have, it's not the greatest. With him, it makes it a lot stronger. And I know the Chargers, I knew it, that we were better than our 5-6 record, because we should have beat the Texans week 1, never should have gave up the lead. And also, especially the Texans now, really? We lost to them. And also, Tennessee Titans. We're basically looking at a 7-4 team right now, but they're only 5-6. So I'm still going to look at the positive side, saying we are still a very, very good team. And to beat the Chiefs on the road is very huge, because now San Diego Chargers only have 1 away game in the next 5 games. So that's very key for the Chargers to go on a winning streak and hope for some miracle to happen. But San Diego Chargers get the win 41-38 over the Kansas City Chiefs. Tonight, 49ers and the Redskins, Washington Redskins, play tonight. ESPN, and it should be a very, very good game to see. And I was looking through stats, and I see Colin Kaepernick, 1,800 yards passing with 11 touchdowns, and has the better record for the 49ers with 6-4, with the Redskins, RG3 having 2,700 yards passing and 14 touchdowns, and have the worst record with 3-7. It's crazy to see. I mean, you look at the stats, and Alfred Morris, 918 yards, 5 touchdowns rushing. Pierre Garçon, 871 yards receiving. They have better stats than the 49ers, and I mean, they have a bad defense, but it's crazy to see the Redskins being 3-7 when most of us probably thought they'd be 7-3 right now. So that was basically it for the NFL. Again, no other news for them. It's mainly just been with the scores, but we're going to talk about the major sports news, and again, that is Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose suffered an injury last week and now has had surgery on his right knee. Last year he tore his ACL on his left knee, and now it's this. It's sad news, and it sucks for Derrick Rose, because at only 25 years old, who won the MVP in 2010, looks like he's going to be the next big star, especially for Chicago. Next big thing for them, and now having this injury that will take him out for the rest of the year, that's got to be tough. They said that a few players were talking to him, and that he was in the best spirits, and that what's going in the circumstances that he's going through, he's okay in a way, and I don't know, that'd just be very, very tough to go through, just knowing that 2 major surgeries in 2 years now, and only playing I think 50 games in 50 out of 200 and something games. That's all he's played, which is nothing. And Chicago, they're sitting at 6-6 right now, which it's still early in the year, so it's not like the season's over with. It's it's nothing bad. I mean, it is bad, but what I'm trying to say is there's still a long season. So instead of it happening in the middle of the year and they're trying to figure out who they're going to put in, and they got something going, or towards the end of the year where they have to really start like, oh, what are we gonna do? It's early in the year, so now they know how, I don't know, they have more time to get more chemistry or something. I don't know. What I'm trying to say is just, it's better that it happened early. If it had to happen, it's good that it had happened early than later. I could see the argument saying, well, if it happened later, maybe they have a better record and stuff like that. That's true, but that's not going to help you in the playoffs when he's out if you relied on him the entire time. So it's just that's very, very sad news for Derrick Rose, what he has to go through. But my question is, what's going to happen next? What's next for Derrick Rose? Now, my mind wants to talk about, like, oh, what if this should be it? What if he should just retire? I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think obviously that's not what he wants, and I'm pretty sure that's not what he's going to do. But you just got to think, like, as Chicago and management, you got to think, we're paying this guy a whole lot of money, and right now he's kind of being a Greg Oden right now, which is not his fault. I'm not saying this is his fault, but with these injuries, what are you doing? And you got to go out and get more talent for your team because you've been struggling defensively and offensively. You've been struggling this year. You got to go get more talent, but not a whole lot of money. All money's invested in Derrick Rose, and he's not going to play for you for the rest of the year. You got to do something. I think restructuring the contract is number one priority. If I was in management right now with the Bulls, I give this about a few weeks or so, but I'd try to do anything to try to free up some space and try to hope that I can go get someone in free agency or make a trade or something, because Bulls, they cannot rely on the team that they have right now. And they were, even with Derrick Rose, if he was in his MVP and none of these injuries have ever happened, Bulls need some more help around them because they just need more help. And so, I don't know. That's my thing. I think Derrick Rose should I don't know. That's a tough situation all around. But some other news, the Los Angeles Lakers and Kobe Bryant signed a 2-year extension. No financial terms were released. Kobe Bryant is to make $30.4 million this year, which is incredible. I hope they restructured that. I hope he's not really going to make that this year. You already know that you're going to have to move on without him. Yeah, you signed him to 2 years. I don't see Kobe playing 2 more years after this. I see him playing for sure, obviously, this year. I could see him playing next year, no matter what happens in this year. I could see him play. Obviously, if he got hurt again, then, yeah, I think he retires after this year. But I don't see him playing another 2 years. There's just no way. I don't see that happening. And Lakers, it's just, that's what they need to do, restructure a contract. And I hope they kind of spread that out, maybe force most of that money that second year to, I guess, maybe try to just get the rest out of it. I don't know. That 30.4, that team is, Lakers are already struggling enough. You need more talent, and not saying you're going to save up for the, LeBron doing his decision part 2 all over again. There's just no way you should pay Kobe Bryant $30.4 million this year alone. That's incredible. But other than that, basketball news, that's about it. Major League Baseball news, off-season, it has already started, obviously, and things are starting to heat up, especially with one major signing. Was the St. Louis Cardinals signed shortstop Johnny Peralta to a 4-year, $52 million deal. This is where that's just an outrageous deal for him. He's good, but he's not worth $52 million. And this is where I really couldn't think of the word because I don't know if it's an argument or a problem. It's an issue is what it is, and this is why. Johnny Peralta was suspended 50 games for PED use at the beginning of last year, and this signing has raised the issue, argument, problem, whatever you want to call it, with a lot of players, including Arizona Diamondbacks pitcher Brad Ziegler. Quote, "It pays to cheat. Thanks owners for encouraging PED use," unquote. Also, free agent pitcher David Arazma, quote, said, "Apparently getting suspended for PED gets you a raise." I messed up on writing there. "What's stopping anyone from doing it?" unquote, or hashtag we need to make a change. And that's true because, one, he's not even worth $52 million. And for that to happen, I don't know. That's a huge problem. Also, St. Louis traded David Breeze, third baseman David Breeze, to the LA Angels, or Anaheim Angels. LA Dodgers are the real LA team, for Peter Porges. Also, we're running out of time. New York Yankees signed catcher Brian McCann to a 5-year, $85 million deal. And what is up with these deals? That is incredible for that much money just for someone that's kind of washed up a little bit. Also, the LA Dodgers signed starting pitcher Dan Herron for a 1-year, $10 million deal. He went 10-14 last year with a 4.6 ERA, or 4.67 ERA. it's more for depth. It's not like he's going to be I hope he's not going to be one of our starters. I hope it's just for depth. Also, Cleveland Indians signed outfielder David Murphy to a 2-year, $12 million deal. And we are all out of time, but I did finish everything that I needed to. Next show will be on Friday, Black Friday, that is. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you follow and subscribe. I'll see you guys 10 a.m. Pacific time on Friday. Thank you guys for listening. And happy Thanksgiving.